and a really warm welcome back to my channel, PumpkinBecki. Today we're in the greenhouse and we're going to be doing a little DIY project that involves a succulent and a lovely white cappuccino cup and saucer. It's going to make a really cute housewarming gift, or an anything gift. It's really sweet. Let's get started. The first part of the project is going to involve this lovely cappuccino cup and saucer, which I got from Wilkinson's. The second component to the project is this stunning Graptoveria Opalina, which I picked up at Dobbies garden centre for $4.99. She's gorgeous. Oh, I love the colour. I love this blue-green with the mauve tips to the beautiful plump leaves. She's just gorgeous. Can't wait to use her. And I checked, and the size of the rosette is going to look pretty perfect in the size of the cup there. Now, what you will notice is that this cup has no drainage. Succulents do need drainage. I know there's this whole thing where you're putting succulents in terrariums and into glass containers without drainage. You need gravel at the bottom, but there's an awful lot of research that says that's really bad for them, and this Graptoveria could actually stay in this planter for years and years and years, quite happily, if I give it the right conditions. So I'm going to be drilling a hole in the bottom, and then the saucer is going to act as a drip tray. So this could quite happily sit on a painted surface without the risk of it making any marks or damaging the woodwork. So I'm just protecting my work surface with a scrap piece of wood, and I'm going to pop some masking tape in the bottom to help prevent cracking. Just like that. So here's my corded drill, and I've got a multi-purpose bit in here. You could use a diamond tipped tile bit, but today I'm going to be using this one. We have used it on tile before and it's behaved very well. Fingers crossed. I have my masking tape in the bottom of my cup. So there we go, we have a hole in our cup. So I can take the masking tape off and get rid of that now. And just give the cup a little bit of a clean up. There we go. So I'm now going to cover that hole with some wire mesh. You can get plastic mesh as well. I happen to have some metal around, so I'm using that. And this is going to act as a screen. And all I'm going to do is pop it in the bottom of the cup, and it's just going to stop any soil falling through. And the next job is to have a look at my Graptoveria. And I don't know how long she's been growing in this pot, so what I'm going to do is try and get off as much of the compost as possible as she's got in with her. And the best way to handle her is by actually putting fingers underneath. Try not to touch the top of the petals, otherwise you will do what you can see here. That is basically a fingerprint. That will never grow out, in that the surface will never regain its powdery texture, but over time she will lose these leaves and grow out of it that way. So I'm just going to work the roots, just get off as much as possible. You can see she's She's got quite a nice compost, but I am going to give her fresh. She also seems to be putting out roots up here, which is cute. I've got one leaf here which is a bit blur. I'm going to take that off and dispose of it. It's no good for doing propagation from, it's spent. Everything else looks good. Yep. Now here's my teacup, coffee cup, and she's just going to sit in like that. So I'm going to carefully pop some compost in, making sure not to disturb the screen. Make sure that stays sitting over the hole, and then I'm going to place her in. So you can see there's not a huge amount of room around the outside, but using a spoon I should be able to get compost round. My compost is a mixture of Levington's desert cactus and bonsai compost with an awful lot of perlite in it. Think of it in terms of 1 part perlite to 2 parts of the compost. The compost has got sand in it, but it is holding a lot of moisture on its own. The perlite is helping keep it free draining and allowing it to dry out nicely between waterings. So with a small amount on my spoon, again holding the leaves underneath, I can just tuck the soil in around her. You don't need to pack it down, just tap the pot and allow it to shake down into the spaces. I'm going to leave myself a little gap because I'm also going to use top dressing. Make sure the soil surface is nice and even, and tapping actually does that. It just levels the soil surface out. Here's the top dressing I'm going to be using. It's actually an aquarium gravel, but it's probably something like a quartz. It's really pretty. It's almost opally, which actually, bearing in mind she's Opalina, is quite cunning. Right. Here we go. Again, just lift the leaves and allow the top dressing to tumble in and around. All you're aiming to do is cover the soil surface. And I have washed this gravel. The gravel came from Pets at Home. And I said it's literally from their aquarium section. I wanted a slightly smaller size pebble, but they didn't have that available in white, which was a real shame. But, I mean, this looks really pretty too. I like the texture. Oops, sorry, open that up. finally, I am just going to dry the cup off with some clean kitchen towel. Get off any little bits of loose soil. Lovely. Now I'm just going to go over the leaves with this soft makeup brush that I bought from a pound shop. It's got a nice big soft head, and it's just going to be ever so gentle on the leaves. And just softly, softly. Again, you risk, if you press too hard, you risk disturbing the waxy coating. So don't do that. You're just trying to get off any little bits of soil that might have got themselves up onto the leaves. That looks lovely. So there we are, all finished. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? I think anybody would be really pleased to receive that as a gift. It was really inexpensive to do, really achievable. I'm going to leave links to everything that I've used today in the down bar so that you can see exactly what I used and how much it cost. And I really hope you have a go too. I love that. One last point I really do need to make is I will not be watering this plant for a good couple of weeks. The reason being is I have been messing around with the roots, so I've probably done some damage there. With succulents, it's very important that you don't water too early after moving them because moisture can get into the roots and cause damage. Give them a couple of weeks to dry off. The soil I've used is completely dry. That's absolutely fine. Just leave it alone for a couple of weeks in a nice bright windowsill. It will be absolutely fine. After a couple of weeks and you are ready to start watering, then make sure you water onto the gravel surface. Don't water into the crown of the plant, only water here onto the top dressing. Water until you start to see water coming out of the bottom and then stop. Let that water drain away and then pop it back on its saucer and where you're going to leave it, and it should be absolutely fine. Make sure the soil is dry between waterings. If the plant is looking a good colour but you start to see some puckering on the leaves, then that means that it needs another water. If you start to see leaves that look translucent and puckered, like this one, then that means that you could well be overwatering. So maybe just scrape back the top dressing properly, have a look and see how wet it is. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to rate, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube. And until the next video, bye!